Okay, let me just check. All right, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so your name, location, and career title.
Sue Van Raes is my name. I'm the founder of Boulder Nutrition in Boulder, Colorado. I specialize in women's health, functional nutrition, food psychology, and women's yoga retreats.
What's functional nutrition?
Functional nutrition is using food to treat the imbalances in our body and to bring us back into equilibrium. So therapeutic use of food and nutrients.
Beautiful. And can you elaborate a little bit more on what you do overall, including like how you set up your business, what it entails?
So I work with people remotely and in person. So lots of people from around the country and around the world, actually. And then I work with people in my office as well, especially pandemic aside. And I work with looking into where they are feeling out of balance in their health. Sometimes that involves treating them with certain macronutrients or evaluating their metabolism or looking into their blood work for various food allergies or hormone imbalances or various things like that. And other times we work a lot around how we eat, the relationship we have to food, the relationship we have to our body, and also, where we get kind of out of balance in our day-to-day lives with potentially emotional eating or even eating disorder behavior, and how I can support people to bring themselves back to a place of empowerment around food.
And can you explain macronutrients?
Sure. So macronutrients are one of the ways that I help people to gauge their eating, looking at the ratios of protein, fats, carbohydrates in their diet, and how to customize that for their metabolism, their own unique metabolism. So different one person to the next, those ratios.
And how did you discover your path? How did you get into it? What was your trauma to triumph type thing?
Thank you. Yes. I was actually sharing about this just the other day. When I was a kid, I had scoliosis that I was diagnosed when I was in early middle school. And I was supposed to get a back brace for my scoliosis. And in between these two doctor's visits that were 3 months apart, I was supposed to go back to the second visit to get fitted for the back brace based on my x-rays. And then somehow, ironically, my mom had a close friend who was working with a chiropractor at the time. And in those days, chiropractic medicine and naturopathic medicine were the same training in the 80s. So they came out with both degrees. So the woman I started seeing because of my mom's friend was a naturopathic chiropractor. And within that 3-month period, I went to see her once or twice a week. She did adjustments on my spine. She treated me with sort of specific foods that she recommended and also supplements. I was only about 11 or 12. And I started to fall in love with her and her way of being kind of au naturel. I remember she had herbal tea in her lobby, which was not trendy at the time. So I would drink cups of herbal tea, waiting for my appointment, get my adjustments, get massaged, get treated with all these different nutrients and foods. And I went back to the back doctor 3 months later to get fitted for this back brace, which I was devastated by. I was also a competitive gymnast, so the thought of being constricted was really foreign to me. And my spine had corrected so much on the x-ray that I wasn't in the category of needing a back brace anymore. So it kind of saved my middle school and high school years from feeling really constricted and not being able to do my sport of competitive gymnastics. And also just something about her energy and what she was doing with natural medicine was really new for me, because we had grown up in the Western medicine side of things, for sure, where I grew up in Canada. And so she kind of introduced me to this whole other way of thinking, that our bodies could heal themselves. And so she really helped me for my body to come back to its natural state and prevent a lot of long-term problems with my spine. And so I always carried that with me all through high school and all through college. And then after I graduated with a biology degree from University of British Columbia, I went on to take a master's degree in nutrition and specialized in women's health. So,
Wow, it's a miracle.
so it's funny how these little things imprint on us when we're kids.
Little things.
But they make a big difference in who we become. Yeah.
It's amazing. Well, I'm so happy. I mean, you would never know that you had that trauma in your body.
Right.
Like, it's incredible.
I
You've got the
feel-
most amazing posture, and you're like
Oh.
aligned correctly. And it's, I mean, I noticed because I'm a Pilates instructor. So beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
What are the biggest rewards coming from your career?
Oh, so
For
many.
just firstly for yourself firstly, and then what you see for clients of yours.
Oh, sure. Well, for one thing, I've always been a foodie. And I've always loved eating. In fact, I could never quite eat enough when I was younger, especially in my gymnastics days. I was always hungry because I spent so much time training.
Yeah.
So learning how to take care of my own body and feed my body was always something I was interested in. Plus, I was always interested in cooking and experimenting with food. So when I decided to go back to get a master's in nutrition, it felt very organic to my personality. In fact, a lot of people in my family were like, "Of course you would do that." Moving forward, you can see how that passion could just be carried into my work. I love writing. I've written one book. I'm working on my second book. So a lot of my passion around food has also come out of my writing.
Could you
comes
name your
out-
book, by the way?
Pardon?
Could you name your book?
Yeah, Health-Wise is my first book. Yeah. And yeah, so I just continue to find inspiration in so many aspects of nutrition. I love cooking. I love testing my body to see what works, for my particular constitution. I love to recipe test and get creative. I love research. I was writing, I write for the Chopra Center, and in that position of health writing, I have to do a lot of research. It's been a little slower lately since things have happened in the world with the pandemic, but I have been writing for them for over 2 years and knee-deep in research when it comes to those articles. So the science part of it's really intriguing to me, and so is the actual repairing of the body and the nourishment of the body and the ways that food can affect our sleep and our cravings and our mental health and our exercise and our energy levels and even our foods. And so I just feel like I keep following my own inspiration in my business and in my life with food, and it just keeps taking me to new places that are really exciting to explore. So it's been 18 years since I started my business, and I would like to say that I'm really never bored with it. It's always keeping me intrigued, and I just have a lot of passion for my work.
You can tell from this weekend. It's wonderful. Yeah, thank you. And for your clients, what are the rewards you see with your clients? Yeah, so many, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I think one of the primary things is just really learning that our bodies can heal and give our bodies the right nutrients and the right love and care. A lot of things can come back into balance. Clients in my office, when I see people go from like debilitating digestive issues to feeling strong and vital, or when I see women who are overcoming disordered eating, find their power and make huge strides in healing, and talk to me years later, tell me how well they're doing and how the introspective side of the food psychology had really led them into more awareness with what they need for their body to be nourished, rather than thinking about it as how they look or on the external, like how many calories they're eating or things that kind of easily throw us out of whack. It's really beautiful to watch people come home to themselves. And then my retreats, even in just a couple days of being on retreats, sometimes I lead weekend retreats, sometimes I lead long-term, week-long retreats, but it's just amazing to see people have breakthroughs, and their breakthroughs can be around almost anything under the sun. I've seen people change their whole lives because they weren't happy. I've seen people have insights about a thought pattern or a habit in their life that is bringing them down. I've seen people really show up and open up, if they're feeling kind of closed and hiding behind themselves, to open up and connect with other women and feel their beauty and adventure and get in the nature of wherever we are, eat good food. All of these different practices or tenets of what I believe to be so important for overall health, which is more than food. Just to say, there's so many more aspects, like how we think and how we relate to the world and how we take care of ourselves, how we rest, how we nurture. So I really like to bring all those elements into my retreats, and it's such a joy to watch people go through the process and see what happens.
I vouch for the retreats. Really phenomenal. Where would you like to see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, wow.
Only 5, because it's not that long.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on my second book. That's a big project because, there's just a lot that I'm doing differently this time. I'm working with a writing coach, things that are taking me to a new level in my own expression that are really exciting. So I'm really excited to publish that book. I'm really excited to just expand the retreat side of things for me, because for a long time I had 2 kids at home, single mom, and I raised them primarily by myself, the occasional little bit of help here and there, but leaving was hard, and it took a lot of logistical support to get on retreat, even if I was working. So now that my youngest child just moved out 6 weeks ago, and now that I'm in this new phase of life, I feel like I can travel a bit more, I can support people more, I can focus on my business a little bit more intensively, and I am excited to see what happens with those retreats, because they're getting very full, and they're selling out, and I'm just watching them grow naturally. So I kind of want to keep meeting that as much as I can humanly do.
Are there any questions I'm not asking that you would like to tap on in terms of your career and what your input is in this wonderful field of work that you are in?
Oh, there's one thing that I'd like to say, and that is, in the early days of my business, it was a lot of hustle, and I wasn't always tapped into my feminine. And I was a very aggressive, assertive personality coming from my competitive sports and kind of how I was raised to just push through. And what's happened, probably in the last 10 or so years is a softening, where I stopped forcing and pushing so much, and I was starting to allow more and let the inspiration guide me more than what I should be doing. And that's really helped my business grow, actually. So even though it was a little scary because I had never tried it before, and I was really nervous to change my way of doing things, because my family relied on my income. That was the only income I had for the last 20 years. And so if I was worried, if I don't push, is it going to be okay? Am I still going to be able to support my kids? And actually what happened is the exact opposite. Is my business grew a lot, and it felt really good to be able to trust the flow of my feminine energy and my creativity, my inspiration, and see how that not only serves me, but I do believe deep down that I think it serves others more as well. There's something about it, but it was a big shift from my upbringing to now.
What are 3 wishes?
3 wishes. Any kind of wish.
Anything, go for it. Go for gold.
Oh, goodness.
I know.
There's
3
so much,
only.
there's so much suffering in the world right now. So much chaos. And, we've all got our own little pieces of that in our own lives, but the world is going through such a huge shift. And my hope, one of my wishes is my hope that this chaos and this challenge and the struggle that many of us are facing in the world today with regards to so many different issues, health, gender, race, politics, that we can come out the other side better and stronger, that this is like a portal for something good to happen, to come from this. That's one of my wishes.
Nothing much.
It's just so crazy right now in the world. It's hard to overlook that.
Bless you for your good nature for putting the world first.
Yeah. And then in my work, one of my wishes is that, something like my book and my online courses and my retreats and this message that I feel is so relevant to women's health and to overall human health, that it can reach more people. I really want people to know that they have a choice, and I want people to know that they have the power to heal, and I want people to know that they can strengthen
Lucky last.
Oh,
I know.
well, I'll just go personal then
Yeah,
with this
yeah.
last one. My personal wish right now is, you know, just that I can integrate and use the lessons of my life. And there have been many hard ones in the last 20 years, single parenting and being an entrepreneur and going through various different traumas that we've all, you know, many of us have gone through, that I can just keep getting stronger, I can keep focusing on my health, and that I can keep sharing with other people. And I love traveling. And so traveling is one of those things that had been put on the back burner a little bit for a while. So now that I'm starting to travel more, when things start opening up again, I'm really looking forward to studying different kinds of eating around the world. And really, I love to just get immersed in culture. And luckily, my partner does as well. And so we're both just raring to go and get our travel bug back on. I used to travel a lot before I had kids. So that's exciting.
And then COVID.
And then COVID. So we're having a little pause here before the traveling fully goes full tilt. But I'm excited about that next phase of my life for sure.
Okay, last question. What's one word to describe your relationship with the universe? One word, first off the top of your head.
The first word that comes to my mind is reflection. I don't know why, but that's what came.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to be in harmony and work back and forth with reflection in both directions, I'm sure.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.